Hi guys, so today I'm going to teach you all about something known as factors. Okay, factors and multiples, part 1. Okay, so first of all, let's study about something known as factors. So, what are factors? So, if you take factors, let's take that. Okay, we have an example. Okay, so in the factors, we have an example. Let's take that 4. Okay, so under 4, if you take this 4, let's say this is my given number. So in this given number 4, what am I going to do here is that I am going to divide this by any number. Okay, so I am going to divide this by any number. Okay, so when I'm dividing this by any number, I should divide it equally. Okay, I should divide it equally, or I should divide it evenly. Okay, so that my remainder will become 0, so that my remainder will become 0 when I am dividing this by any number. Okay, so if I'm taking this 4 and I'm dividing this by, let's say I'm taking 2. So when I'm dividing this 4 by 2, what is happening here is that we have to see how many 2 do we have inside 4. How many 2 do we have? That is 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 2 is equals to how much? 4. And 4 minus 4 is equals to how much? 0. So when I take this number, when I am dividing this given number 4 by 2, then what am I getting? I am getting a remainder of 0. So whenever I am getting a remainder of 0, remember that the number which I divided will become a factor for the given number. That means I divided this by 2. No, so because of that reason, what can you say here? That is 2 will become my factor of the number 4. Did you understand? Always remember what does factor means. You will have a number, and if you divide it evenly by any number or equally by any number, remember that your remainder should become 0, so that when the remainder becomes 0, the number by which you divided will become a factor of your given number. That means 2 is a factor of number 4. Okay, and then remember that not only 2. Okay, when you divide 4 by 2, what's the answer that you get? That is 2. Then not only the number which you divided is a factor, but your answer is also considered as a factor. Okay, it is also considered as your factor. And remember, these two are in pairs. These two are in pairs. Okay, and remember another thing, whenever you take factor, okay, whenever you take factor, okay, always you will have two factors for any number. Okay, for any number you will have two factors. What are those two factors? That is 1 and then that number itself, 1 and the number itself, and these two will become pair. Okay, and always remember that you have to keep a space in between. Okay, you have to keep a space in between each other, so that you can write 1 here and 4 here, the number itself. Okay, for any number you will have this as your factor. Did you understand? Okay, you will have this as your factor and keep space for this. Okay, so that means, okay, 4 if you divide it by 1. 4 if you divide by 1. Let's see how many 1 do you have inside 4. That is 4 times. 4 multiplied by 4 is how much? 4. 4 minus 4 is how much? 0. So the remainder is becoming 0. So what can you say? That when you divide 4 by 1, then what's the answer that you are getting? 4. Then the number which you divided is also a factor and the answer is also a factor. That's what 1 is here and 4 is here, because your remainder became 0. They divided each other. Okay. Did you understand? Always remember that. And then this is how you get factors by using the division method. By using the division method. But if you take in most of your if you take in your textbooks and all, most of the time they give this only. Okay, they will say how did you got 4, what are the two numbers you multiplied so that you got 4, like that they will give you like this. Then remember, this is what you call it as your multiplication method. But remember that what are the two numbers you multiply, so that you will get your given number. Okay, that's how we get this. So what you can do here is always do this division method and find the factors, as I found first for number 4. Find the factors. Okay, okay, always make sure to find the factors. Once you find the factors, write it in the pairs, just like how I did 1 comma 4 and here 2. Okay, so like that you all have to write the factors here. Okay, first factor we already got 1 and 4. Another factor, how can you get? That is 4. I am going to divide by another number. What is that another number that I can take? That is 2. 4 divided by 2 is how much? 2. So this 2 is also a factor and this is also a factor. So you have to write both in pairs. But see here, this is 2 and 2. Okay, number which you divided and the answer you got both are 2. So will you write it 2 times? No. You will only write it once. I will write like this 2. Okay, so how many factors do you have? 1, 2 and 4. These are the factors by using the division method. So if you all ask me, why didn't you do this method, this multiplication method, and why are you doing the division method? That is because most of you all don't know multiplication. Okay, that's the real truth. Reality is that. Okay, so whenever you do this division method, what you can do here is most of the time they will give you this multiplication method only in your exam. So how will you all then find the answer? That is, whatever factors you found here, I told they are in pairs, no? So they are in pairs, so you will come and write it here. So 1 and 4, they were the pairs, so write it here. 2, you already know it came 2 times, so write 1 2 here and another 2 here, so that you will get how much? So that you will get 4. So what are the two numbers? If you multiply, you're getting 4 here. So those numbers which you multiplied is considered as your factors. This 1 is a factor and 4 is a factor. This 2 is a factor. Again, same 2. It's the factor. Okay. So the numbers which you multiply, those two numbers by which you multiply, you get the number, your given number. Then you consider the numbers you multiplied as your factors. Did you understand? It's very good if you use this first method and come and do this method, then only it will become easy, because most of you all don't know multiplication. Why am I saying like that? Why? Because it is 4 means, if it is 4 means no issues, but if it is like 8, 12 and all, what will you all do? Are you all so brilliant that you all can do this? No, most of you all can't. As far as I know, most of you all can't. So that's what I told, come and do the division method, then write all the factors pairs here, and then you can get the answer for this. Did you all understand? Yes. Now let's go towards something known as multiples. What are multiples? So if you take multiples, always remember that basically you have to take a number. For an example, I'm taking 5 here, so this is your given number. Take the given number and multiply it by an integer. When you multiply it by the integer, you should get the answer. That answer is known as your multiple. That answer is known as your multiple. Okay, so if I say integer, what is known as integer? Any whole numbers you consider it as integer. For an example, you can say 1 2 3, all are considered as integers only. That's how you get integers. So how can you get the multiplication? Okay, how can you get the multiples? That is, you have to take the given number, multiply it by any integer. You can first multiply this 5 by 1. Okay, and the answer you get is how much? 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. So this is your multiple. Again, second time, 5 multiplied by your integers. Second one, what do you have? 2. So 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. And third time, what is your integer you have here? That is 3 here. 5 multiplied by 3 is how much? That is 15. Okay, so basically normally if you take all the answers that you get here is known as your multiples. For your easy, can I say one thing? That is, you have multiplication table of 5, no? Go and see all the answers of the multiplication table of 5. You call those answers of the multiplication table of 5 as multiples. All the answers of the multiplication table is considered as the multiples. Did you all understand? Whenever I'm just taking here, okay, multiplication table of 6, then 6 multiplied by 1 will give you 6, 6 multiplied by 2 will give you 12, 6 multiplied by 3 will give you 18. So this set of answers that you have now in the multiplication table, you consider these as your multiples. Did you understand it? It's so easy, okay? So now, did you all understand what is multiples? Okay, now remember that. Now let's go towards something that you all have studied in your grade 6, but I'm 100% sure that you all can't remember it. So what are those? That is, you all might have studied about something known as divisibility rules. You all might have studied about the divisibility rules of number 2, 5 and 10. Okay, so if you take number 2, if you want to find whether any number is divisible by number 2, then how can you all find it? For an example, I'll take 16. Okay, so I am taking 16. How can you find whether this number is divisible by 2 or not? See your last digit. Whenever you take this number, when you see the last digit, if it is an even number, then you consider this whole number to be divisible by 2. Whenever you take a number, and if you have your last digit of the number is divisible by 2, what does it mean? That means this whole number is divisible by 2. See, 6 is your last digit, so it is an even number. So do you all know what is even number? Any number which is divisible by 2, if you divide anything by 2, and the remainder is becoming 0, then you consider that number as you consider that number as an even number. For an example, here 6, no, I am taking 6, I am dividing it by 2. How many 2 do you have inside 6? That is 3 times. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0, so your remainder is 0. Then this number is considered as an even number. Okay, so what are the even numbers you all have? For an example, you all have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. All of those are considered to be what? Your even numbers. Did you all understand? Okay, so whenever you take a number and when you see, okay, in that number, the last digit, if it is an even number, then you consider this whole number to be divisible by 2. Did you all understand? And let's take another example of a number which is divisible by 5. Okay, how a number is divisible by 5. That is, now let's say that, okay, I'm taking a number 10. So in the last digit, if the last digit is 0 or if it is 5, then you consider this number divisible by 5. Okay, for an example, if I take here, you all have 25. If the last digit is 5 here, then this number is the number is divisible by 5. And here the number is 0, no? So this number is divisible by 5. Did you all understand? Whenever you have a number and if that number is divisible, okay, by 5, for that what should you all have? In the last digit, you all should have either 0 or 5. Then you consider that number to be divisible by 5. Okay? Yes. Now let's go towards 10. For a number to be divisible by 10, let's take an example of 60. And if you see the last digit of that number should always be 0, then you consider this whole number divisible by 10. Okay, this whole number will be divisible by 10 if the last digit is always 0. Example, you can take 40, 50. See, all the last digits are 0. So this number is divisible by 10. And you all understand it? So these are the basics that you all might have studied in your grade 6. Okay, all of this time we were speaking about the basics. Okay, what is known as a factor and what is a multiple and then what are the divisibility rules. So those are the stuffs that we were studying. Okay, now let's go into this lesson. Okay, let's deep dive into this lesson where now we are going to see. Okay, now we are going to see something known as what? We are going to see about something known as a digital root. Okay, about digital root. Okay, so what is known as a digital root? That is, if you all want to find the factors quickly or faster, the easy method you all can use is digital root. So what is digital root? For an example, I am taking a number 123. So digital root means I have to take all the digits of this number, and add it together. Okay, add it together so that finally I will get a single digit as my answer. A single digit as my answer. I'm taking all the digits in a number and adding it all together so that I will get a single digit as a number. For an example, 1 plus 2 is how much? 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Oh, here this is the single number. So this is the digital root, which is 6. Okay, and then let's see another number. Okay, let's take another number. For an example, 68. How to find the digital root? 6 plus 8 is how much? 14. Okay, so is this the digital root? No, girls, no, it's not like that. You all have to see. Okay, you all have to see the single digit. Do you all have a single digit here? No, you all are not getting a single digit here, double digits. So what can you all do? You all have to add these two together to get the final answer. 1 plus 4 is how much? 5. So 5 is the digital root of the number 68. Did you all understand? 5 is the digital root of the number 68. Did you all understand this? Okay, now let's see. Okay, now let's see how to find. Okay, now how to find a number whether it is divisible by 9. Okay, so in grade 7 we are going to study from digital root and we are starting the divisibility rule for the number 9, from number 9. Okay, so we are going to see whether a number is divisible by 9. How? Give an example. I am taking here a number 45. So always see here. Okay, if you want to find whether a number is divisible by 9, what you have to do is you have to add this number. That means you have to find the what? First of all, you have to find the digital root of the number. How can you all find the digital root? Add both of them together. 4 plus 5 is how much? 9. So the digital root of this number is how much? 9. And then you have to take the digital root and see whether this digital root 9 is divisible by this 9. Whether this is divisible by 9. So what can you all say here? 9, is it divisible by 9? Because 9 divided by 9 is how much? 1. 9 divided by 9 is 1. So when you get any answer here which is a whole number means 1 2 3 4 like that. Okay, not a decimal number. Decimal means 1.5, 2.5. No, this is a whole number. Whenever you get a whole number like 1 2 like that, remember that your remainder will become how much? 0. When a whole number is coming as your answer, your remainder will become 0. Okay, then what can you understand? This 9 is divisible by 9. Okay, so if this digital root 9 is divisible by 9, then remember you can understand that your whole number 45 is automatically divisible by 9. Okay, automatically divisible by 9. Okay, so always remember if you want to find whether a number is divisible, whether it is divisible by 9, take that number and find the digital root of that number, and after that you have to take that digital root and divide it by the number 9 and see whether you are whether that number is divisible by 9. If that number is divisible by 9, how can you find it? That is, you can see you will get a whole number. Whole number means like 1 or 2 or 3. That means your remainder is 0. That means this number is divisible by 9. Okay, but if you get a decimal number 2, 2.5 and all here means, then you know the remainder will not become 0. Then you can say that number is not divisible by 9. Okay, so if I return again, when you have a number, okay, if you divide, take the digital root of that number, and if the digital root of that number, if you divide it by 9, then if you see that the number is divisible by 9, then you should understand that this number 45 will automatically become divisible by 9. Okay, this number 9 will automatically become divisible by 9. Let's do another question and see here for an example. You all can even ask me, why should we just take 45 and take the digital root and see whether digital root is divisible by 9? Then we can understand, okay, this whole number is automatically become divisible by 9. Why should we think like that? You all can ask me, because if it is a small number, you all can, okay, you all don't have to take the digital root. Okay, that means you all can say me, I will itself divide 45 and by 9 and see whether I am getting what, whether it's divisible or not, I can see it. Okay, why should I take digital root and do everything like that? Yes, you can do that, but here is it a, this is a small number, but they won't give you small number all the time. So you all have to take the digital route so that it will become easy. Always we have to try to make something easy, right? An easy method in max, exactly. So you cannot, what, you cannot divide everything. You can divide 45, but can you divide big numbers like 2335, 145, 635? No, you all can't do like that. For that, what you all have to do, you all have to find the digital root and see whether the digital root is divisible by 9, and then after that you can understand automatically if this number, okay, is becoming divisible by 9. If the digital root is divisible by 9, then you can automatically understand that this whole number is divisible by 9. Did you all understand? When it is becoming divisible by 9, also you all can say that this 9 is becoming a factor of 45. This 9 is becoming a factor of 45. When this number is divisible by 9, you can also understand that 9 is becoming a factor of 45. Did you understand? Okay, let's do another example. Let's take 1,323. Okay, now can you all find whether this number is divisible by 9? Can you all divide and find me? No, it's very hard, because we can use an easy method for it. What is it? Find the digital root. What is it? How can you do that? Add all the digits together. So how much is it? 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3. How much is 1 plus 3 equals to 4? 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Now we got the digital root. Okay. So the digital root is how much? That is 9. So when the digital root is 9, what you can do here? Now we have got a digital root. Okay. So what you have to do? You have to see whether this digital root is divisible by our number 9. Okay. So if it is divisible by 9, what can you do here? That means 9 divided by 9 is how much? 1. So we are getting a whole number as our answer. Then what can you understand? This number digital root is divisible by our number 9. So that's what you're getting a whole number. That means remainder is 0. So this digital root is divisible by 9. So then automatically what can you understand? When digital root is divisible by 9 means, then automatically 1323 is also divisible by 9. Okay, always remember that. Okay, always remember that. Did you all understand how to find the divisibility rule of 9? Okay, so if I want to give you a summary, I can say always remember. How can you all find whether a number is divisible by 9? Always remember the step 1 is you have to find the digital root. You have to find the digital root. Once you find the digital root, what you have to do here is you have to take that digital root. Okay, you have to take the digital root and divide it by 9. And when you divide it by 9, you have to see whether it is divisible by 9. Okay, that means if you get a remainder of 0, then it is divisible by 9. So if that number is divisible by 9, that means automatically what will happen? Automatically your main number or your given number will become what? Divisible by 9. It will become divisible by 9. So when it becomes divisible by 9, what can you say? Then you can say that this 9 is a factor of your main number. Okay, 9 is a factor of your main number. But what happens if your digital root is not divisible by 9? If it is not divisible by 9, okay, then what will happen? Your remainder is also not 0, then it is not divisible by 9. That means automatically your main number will not become divisible by 9, so that this 9 will not become a factor of your main number also. Did you understand? And you all understand? First of all, you all have to find the digital root of a number in the step 1, and after that what should you do in your step 2? In your step 2, you have to take your digital root and you have to see whether it is divisible by 9 or not. Then you can get two answers. One is yes and the other one is no. If the digital root is divisible by 9, if it is yes, what will happen? Then you can say that that number is automatically what? Automatically become divisible by uh, automatically becoming divisible by 9 to your main number. If the answer is no, that means this digital root, if it is not divisible by 9, that means your main number is what? Main number is automatically not becoming divisible by 9. Automatically not becoming divisible by 9. Did you all understand how to find whether the number is divisible by 9 or not? Yes? Now let's see whether a number is divisible. Okay, whether a number is divisible by 3. How can you all find it? That is, it's similar to the number 9. Why? Because let's take an example. Okay, let's take an example. Now I'm taking 15. So how can you find whether this number is divisible by 3? That is, you all have to find the digital root of this. How can you find the digital root? Add 1 plus 5, it will give you how much? 6. So 6 is a single number, so this is a digital root of the number 15. So now say me whether this digital root is divisible by 3 or not. Yes, if you divide 6 by 3, you get 3. How much do you get? 2. So that is a whole number, so your remainder will become how much? 0. So what can you say? This number 6 is divisible by 3. Digital root 6. This is your digital root, no? So the digital root 6 is divisible by 3. So what can you say here? That means your number 15 is also divisible by number 3. That's how we find whether a number is divisible by 3 or not. Okay. Also another thing, what can you say? That this number, okay, that this number 3, okay, is a factor of number 15. 3 is becoming a factor of number 15. Okay, that's how you find the digital root. Okay, now let's do some examples. Okay, I'm going to take 372. This is a big number. Now let's take this. How can you find whether this number is divisible by 3 or not? Let's find the digital root first. So let's add 3 plus 7 plus 2. So 3 plus 7 is how much? 10. 10 plus 2 is how much? 12. So 12 is the digital root. Am I right? No, guys, it's not. Why? Because 12 is a what? Double digit. I want a single digit. So 1 plus 2 will give you how much? 1 plus 2 you have to take it. It will give you 3. Then only you get a single digit, which is 3. So this is the digital root of the number 372. So now what should you do? You have to take this digital root and see whether it is divisible by number 3. So 3 divided by 3 will give you how much? 1. It's a whole number. When you get a whole number, what can you say? Your remainder is 0. So what can you say here? That is, this digital root 3 is divisible by number 3. So the number 3. So because of that reason, this 372 also is divisible by 3. As digital root is divisible by 3, that means your number 372 is also divisible by 2. That's how we find it. Also, this 3 is becoming a factor of the number 372. Did you all understand? Okay, now let's do another one. That is, let's take 28. So, how can you find it? Let's add 2 plus 8 to find the digital root first. So, 2 plus 8 will give you 10. So, is this the digital root? No, guys, take the single digit. How can you take the single digit? Add 1 plus 0. It will give you how much? 1. So, now say me whether this 1, this is the digital root of the number 28. So, say me whether this 1 is divisible by 3 or not. Can you divide it by 3? No. That means you can divide, but you will get what? You will get a decimal point answer. So when you get a decimal answer, what will happen? Your remainder will not become 0. When the remainder is not 0, this number 1 is not divisible by 3. So when the digital root 1 is not divisible by 3, what can you say? And the main number 28 is also not divisible by 3. That's how we find it. Also, we can say that 3 is not a factor of your number. It's not a factor of the number 28. Did you all understand? Here, 1 you can't divide by 3 and get a whole number. Okay, digital root 1 you can't divide by 3 and you can't get a whole number. Okay, remember that. If you all are feeling that how will it happen, just divide and see. 1 divide by 3. So if you divide 1 by 3, how much are you getting? Do you have 3 inside 1? Do you all have 3 inside 1? No. So 0. 3 multiplied by 0 is how much? 0. So 1 minus 0 will give you how much? 1. Right? So what will happen? You're getting a answer. What is it? What's the reminder that you all are getting? Reminder is 1. It's not 0. So is 1 divisible by 3? No, 1 is not divisible by 3. That's how I found it. Okay. Okay, now let's see. Okay, now let's see whether a number is divisible by 6. How can you do that? To do that, you all should know two things. That is, if you take any given number, it should be divisible by 2 and it should be divisible by 3. Then only that number will be divisible by 6. So to find any number in an exam, if they give you any question to find whether a number is divisible by 6, what happens? You all should know the divisibility rule related to 2 and the divisibility rule related to 3 also. If they both are divisible only, if you take a number, if it is divisible by 2, also by 3, then only it will be divisible by 6. Did you understand? Yes. Okay. Now let's see an example. Okay. Now let's do an example. Okay. Now let's take 14. Okay. Now say me, what's the first rule? You all have to find. You all have to find whether this number is what? Divisible by 2. Okay. It is divisible by 2. Then what should you do? Go and see the last digit of the number. That is 4. Is it an even number or not? Yes, 4 is an even number. So is it divisible by 2? Yes. Then that's done. Now let's go to 3. Now say me whether this 14 is divisible by 3. Can you just look and say? No, you have to find the digital root of this. How much is it? 1 plus 4 will give you 5. Okay, now if you get 5, is 5 divisible? Okay, is 5 divisible by 3? The digital root? Is the digital root 5 divisible by 3? No. That means you can divide 5. Okay, 5 by 3. Then how much are you getting? Let's divide and see. So, do you have 3 inside 5? Yes. How many times? Once. Then 3 multiplied by 1 is how much? 3. 5 minus 3 is how much? 5 minus 3 is how much? It is becoming 2. Okay, when it becomes 2, what can you do? Okay, let's do it here. Okay, so 5 divided by 3. Okay, you all are getting 2 here. So if you get 2 here, what will you all do? Can you all leave it like that? Are you all getting a reminder? Okay, are you all getting a reminder of 0? No, you all are getting a reminder of 2. So is this number divisible? Huh? Is this number divisible by 3? No, it's not divisible by 3. Why? Because the remainder is not 0. Then if the digital root is not divisible by 3, then what does it mean? That means if the digital root is not divisible by 3, then what can you say? This number 14 is also what? It is also not divisible by 3. Did you all understand? It's also not divisible by 3. So because of that reason, is this number 14 divisible by 3? No, it's not divisible by 3. So because of that reason, what can you all say? It is divisible by 2, but it is not divisible by 3. But what is the rule of divisibility by 6? That is, you should have a number divisible by both 2 and 3. Only one is divisible. 3 is not divisible. So can you take this number 14 divisible by 6? No, never. Because you should have both divisible by the number 14 should be divisible by both 2 and 3, then only it will be divisible by 6. As it is not happening here, only 14 is divisible by 2 and it's not divisible by 3. You can't take this number 14 divisible by 16. You can't take it. Did you understand? Okay, that's how it works. Okay, now let's do another question. Let's take here. Okay, let's take here. For an example, let's take 252. Let's take 252. Now, let's see whether this number is divisible by 2. Okay, let's take the last digit. And the last digit is how much? 2. So, is it divisible by 2? Yes, why? Because last digit is an even number. 2 is an even number. So because of that reason, it is divisible by 2. And then 252, what should you do? To find whether this is divisible by 3. Find the digital root. 2 plus 5 plus 2 is how much? 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 2 is how much? 9. So is 9 is your digital root. Okay, 9 is your digital root. Now say me whether this 9 is it divisible by 3. Okay, 9 divided by 3 is how much you're getting? You're getting 3. So you're getting a whole number. So your remainder will become 0. So this 9 is divisible by 3. If 9 is divisible, the digital root 9 is divisible by 3 means what can you say about your main number 252? It is also divisible by 3. Now what can you say here? This number 252 is divisible by 2 also, divisible by 3 also. Then automatically it will become divisible by which number? By number 6. Did you all understand it? Yes, that's how it works. Whenever you take a number, whether it is divisible by 6, what should you all know? The first step is that is it should be divisible by what? It should be divisible by number 2 and it should be divisible by number 3. Then only it will automatically become divisible by number 6. Okay guys, did you all understand? Yes, okay. Now let's go to the last part of this chapter. That is whether a number is divisible by 4 or not. Okay. Now let's see that how to do that. That is remember that okay, if you want to see whether a number is divisible by 4, then what you should do here is let's take a number for example. Okay, let's take number 36. What you should do is always go and see the last two digits of your number. Always see the last two digits of your number, and if the last two digits of your number, if it is divisible by your number 4, that means that this number is divisible by your number 4. How can we do that? This is the last two digits. This is the number with only two digits. So, however, this is becoming the last two digits. So, I am dividing this by 4. So, when I divide this by 4, how much will you all get? In 3, do you all have 4? No. But in 36, do you all have 4? Yes. How many 4s do you all have? 9. 9 4s are how much? 36. Then 6 minus 6 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. So your remainder is becoming how much? 0. So when your remainder is becoming 0, what can you understand? 36 is divisible by 4. So when the last two digits, if it is becoming divisible by 4, then what can you say? This whole number is becoming divisible by 4. Did you all understand? Always remember the last two digits. Okay, remember that. Okay, that's how it is. Now let's do the question, another one question. Okay, let's take a big one. Now I'm taking 244. So when I'm taking 244, what are the last two digits that you have? 4 and 4. So now to see whether this number is divisible by 4, you have to see the last two digits whether it's divisible by 4 or not. So if you take 44, let's divide it by 4 and see. 4 divided by 4 is how much? 1. So 4 multiplied by 1 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring your 4 down. So if you take 4, how many 4 do you have inside the 4? 1 time. 4 multiplied by 1 is how much? 4. 4 minus 4 is how much? 0. Okay, so you're getting a reminder of how much? 0. So because of that reason, what can you say? Your last two digits are what? Divisible by your 4. So that what can you all automatically understand? Your whole number 244 is also automatically become divisible by number 4. Did you understand? If the last two digits are divisible by 4, that means automatically your whole number will become divisible by number 4. This is the divisibility rule related to number 4. Did you all understand? Okay. Okay. Now this is how you all have to know about the divisibility rules. Okay. So that's it in this lesson. This is what you all have to study, and now let's do a summary of everything. What's the summary that we are going to do? That is, let's remember all the divisibility rules. Okay, so when you take the divisibility rule related to 2, what can you say? Whenever you have a number, and if you see the last digit of that number, it should become an even number. So when it is an even number, then you can understand that this whole number is divisible by the number 2. Okay, the last digit should become even. And when it comes to the divisibility rule related to number 3, always remember that when you are taking a number, okay, and if your digital root, okay, when your digital root is becoming divisible, okay, if the digital root is becoming divisible by 3, that means the whole number is automatically become divisible by 3. Okay, and then if you take the number 4, what can you remember? That is, whenever if you take a number and if you have, okay, if you have your last digit, okay, if you have your last digit, last two digits, if it is divisible by your number 4, that means your whole number is divisible by number 4. And if you take the number 5, if your last digit is either 5 or 0, 5 or 0, that means what can you understand? That means this whole number is divisible by 5. Okay, and then when you take the number 6, if you want to find whether number is divisible by 6 or not, there are what? There are two numbers where it should be divisible. One is number 2 and number 3. Any given number should be divisible by 2 and divisible by 3. Then only it will automatically become divisible by 6. And then if you take number 9, always remember, if you take the digital root of that number, and if the digital root is divisible by 9, that means that main number will automatically become what? It will automatically become divisible by 9. Okay, and the last one and the final one is that if you take any number, if it is divisible by 10, you should have your what? You should have the last digit. The last digit of that number should always be what? Divisible. It should always be 0. So if the last digit is 0, then what can you understand? Then this whole number is divisible by 10. Okay, so you all have to understand all of these divisibility rules for you all to find the factors. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so I hope you all understood the lesson today. Okay, thank you for watching.